My name is Benito Wainwright. I'm an evolutionary biologist at the University of Bristol who works on butterflies. Now, there's no doubt about it that Bristol is a place rich in diverse habitat, which makes it the perfect place for loads of butterfly species to thrive. But the diversity in butterflies that we see today is nowhere near the same as it once was. And I'm here in the Bristol Museums collections at the moment, where there are hundreds of butterfly specimens collected across the Bristol region, some of them dating back to over 200 years ago. Now, although now in the 21st century we have a lot more accurate and humane ways of monitoring butterfly numbers, these historic specimens provide a perfect window into the past, and to biologists and conservationists, that's really, really useful information indeed. Now, on this board here, we've got a range of species that are either completely extinct in Bristol or present at very low, unsustainable numbers. And the reason why they've gone extinct is largely due to climate change, habitat destruction, and a range of other factors, which is a shame. But hopefully the data that will be gathered from these collections will provide us with unbelievable amounts of information, which will then go on to inform us on how best to make our city more hospitable for not just butterflies, but all the other organisms that they interact with, including us humans too.
Hi, my name's Pete, formerly known as Pete the Buckner. I've spent my entire life living in Bristol and watching its wildlife, and the decline that I've witnessed over the years has been truly heartbreaking. Now, the recipe to create a city that's vibrant and as full of wildlife as can be is really very simple. Number one, you need to create the maximum possible number of islands of habitat throughout the city. Of course, the bigger the better, but what's more important is to have as many as possible, as close together as possible. Wildlife needs to be able to island hop. This is how populations can grow and sustain themselves. And number two, we've got to look after nature's sleeping babies. It's easy to forget, once all the flowers are done for the summer and the butterflies have gone, that the insects have to spend the winter somewhere. And if you go trampling all over the grass, etc., then there just won't be another generation. Now, the efforts that I've seen over the last few years, they're great for what they are. But I must say, I don't feel that they're following this recipe closely enough for success. A very simple way of really linking up a lot of areas of habitat would be to change the management of the grassland. Grasses and all the verges and all the roundabouts and those weird little grassy triangles that the council run. We don't use them. Why not allow nature to get back there, and then it can use that to hop between other bits of habitat? Now, if you give nature what it wants, then it will respond, and everyone's a winner. But if we continue to begrudgingly give it just what we think we can spare, then I fear that we're going to fail. And I fear that we're not going to fail despite our attempts. We're going to fail because of our attempts.
Hi everyone, my name's Kareem and currently I'm at university studying Zoological Management at Bristol Zoo. Before I started the course, I used to think that Bristol wildlife was boring and I wasn't interested in it. I wanted to go abroad and work with exotic animals. But when lockdown came, I was able to get into nature more, and I realised that Bristol has such an abundance of wildlife, from invertebrates to reptiles and amphibians to mammals ranging from shrews all the way up to deer, and such an array of bird species. And if you're vigilant, you may even spot the birds of prey. The bad news is that Bristol wildlife is on the decline. And this goes for butterflies and moths as well. And they are such an important species as they indicate the ecosystem's health. A lot of animals rely on butterflies and moths, such as bats that feed on night-flying moths, birds that feed on caterpillars and moths and butterflies, especially blue tits that need 35 billion caterpillars a year to raise their chicks. Other animals also feed on these species, such as toads, frogs, shrews, hedgehogs, lizards, spiders and other insects. They're also pollinators, pollinating plants and crops that us humans need for food. As lockdown showed us, our effects on the ecosystem can be reversed so easily. So is it over for wildlife here in Bristol? No, but we must act fast as our future does depend on it. We need to start putting the environment at the heart of the economy, city planning for both us and nature. Bristol needs interconnected, large and wide, truly green corridors throughout the city for us all to be able to thrive and be resilient.
Hello, my name is Rhian Rowson, the Natural History Curator at Bristol Museum. I love recording wildlife, be it a bee, a moth, a slug. Where in Bristol I see it, King Weston, Easton, Hengrove, Avonmouth, and when, the day I see it, the what, where and when. This data provides knowledge and empowers informed decisions, real evidence that can help identify problems and develop accurate theories about the changes to the environment. I became passionate about nature one summer as vast amount of moths filled my mother's bathroom. I'd never seen so many. I started to look at every detail and their beauty. I read up on each of the species and learned so much just by looking at them and releasing them carefully. Since then, I find watching, learning and recording wildlife a wonderful hobby. I lie on the ground enthralled. The relationship's two-way. I care for them as much as I can and their habitat. I send records to feed into the monitoring of the species, and it's great for my well-being. I have noticed a decline from when I started to record at 19 years old. Wildlife monitoring schemes can help us measure the change. Restoration and enrichment of the ecosystem at any scale depends on information about the past and present location of species. The data can come from museum collections, and what we record today sent to Bristol Regional Environmental Records Centre. It enables a range of ecological questions to be addressed. Through gathering and sharing data, we help design a more sustainable future for people and nature. This is essential as we are nature. The number and diversity I see has greatly reduced, but there is change afoot and hope hangs in the air.